Join JJ and Alex Wednesday from 3 to 6 at RGS Exteriors, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. DJ and PK, it is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and we are joined by Frank Dolce. Frank, good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Frank, coming off a bye week, man, what do you do with yourself?
Oh, I don't know.
Thank goodness you got a game this Saturday. Lockdown, playing around it.
It's an excellent question. Yeah.
Give order to your life.
I know. Do you think that you feel like that? Like, you're going through the season, then you have a bye week, and you kind of like you don't know what to do with yourself on a weekend, or do you feel like, oh, this is nice to have a weekend off?
As far as we're concerned,
I know what your answer is.
I mean, we're still watching games, and then from our perspective, the only time we would really have a week off is if BYU or Utah had a bye. And then there's conference games to watch, which is fine, great. I look forward to it. I mean, it blows by so fast. We're already in November. It's like 12 weeks and no problem. There's plenty of time to do other stuff the rest of the year. I look forward to every Saturday in the September and October, November months, and I suppose into December and spills into January, but particularly during the season for everybody, and then see where they get and where they stack up and where they go as far as that goes. So I think for Utah right now, the question is, can they go undefeated? And I suppose the answer is yes if you use the verb can, but if you change it to will, maybe that opens up a little more debate.
I think it's a funny team because I think they've in most games outside of two games they've played really well, especially recently, like kind of dominating efforts, rising to the level of expectations, shutting down opposing teams, and so it's interesting to look back across the two games where they didn't win, and some of the issues that went along with that. I think Texas Tech I think they're really good.
Yep.
Certainly beatable, but really good. And maybe that may be a closer matchup. I wouldn't say that Utah necessarily goes in and wins that game in a rematch, but certainly would. I think they would perform better. Although, even with the problems they had, they were still really close in the fourth quarter until it got blown out. I think that Utah beats BYU in a rematch. Like, I think that's the way that Utah's played recently. I think they win that game, and I don't think it's necessarily a blowout, but I think they win that close game in a rematch.
Oh, they kicked the crap out of him, Frank. Let's call it like it is.
Really?
No, I got no idea.
Well, the next three are very winnable games,
They are.
and so I don't know. We talked about it last week. I don't know if I like where the bye week fell because Utah had some momentum, and sometimes it's really difficult to regain momentum coming off of a bye. So we'll see how. And sometimes it's a matter of a quarter or so, and then you find your rhythm again. But you don't. This is one of those games where Baylor is good, beatable, but good. And if you you have to jump on them early and start dominating the game. If you let Baylor hang around, all of a sudden you find yourself in a difficult situation in the fourth quarter. That's a game that Baylor could snatch away. So it'll be interesting to see how, coming off of this bye week, how they perform early in the game.
I assume they're going to be able to run the ball because looking at Baylor's losses, Baylor did a good job against the run against UCF, but in the losses, like Cincinnati ran for 196 yards, TCU ran for 265 yards. If you're going to compete with Utah, you've got to have either a very good or a great defensive line. And the two teams that beat Utah are either very good or great when it comes to stopping the run. Baylor looks like a disaster. Cincinnati and TCU ran all over them. Arizona State also beat them and ran all over them. I mean, how are they going to stop the run? Utah would need turnovers, penalties, sacks, negative plays. I just don't see how they're going to limit Utah to 3 or 4 yards a carry. Kyle's going to go for it on fourth down. The analytics are going to tell him to go on fourth down. And against Baylor, I think those analytics are going to be awesome because I don't think Baylor doesn't sound like they got a run defense that can stop anybody when they only need a yard or two.
Yeah, I think Baylor will have to just take a chance and walk a bunch of people up to the line of scrimmage. Like, they're just going to have to get safeties and everybody within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage and just sell out against the run. I think that's their
only chance.
That's going to be their best chance. And so and then you do that and you say, well, okay, so it's been the question mark this year. Can Dampier and the passing game provide enough to score points, stay on the field, score points, and make the defense pay for walking up to the line of scrimmage? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. To see Baylor do that, and to see anybody do that until Utah proves that they can throw the ball effectively downfield. Effectively meaning, 65% completions, and lots of yardage in the passing game. So I think that's always been the question about this team this year is if you can't stop the run, you're in trouble. If you're going to sell out to stop the run, does Utah have enough offensively to beat you through the air? And I think we'll see that. I still say the same thing. Like, Dampier is good enough throwing the ball. I think we'd like to see him be a little more efficient throwing the ball downfield. But I do like his depth of talent catching the football. And that's with tight ends, and that's with wide receivers, and that's with people coming out of the backfield. I think there's a good depth of talent that can keep a defense off balance.
The one thing that I would eliminate if I'm Jason Beck is the deep ball, because it seems like on his interceptions, that's when they occur. And it's just not there, so don't force around in a square or square and around, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
He threw one up for grabs. It didn't matter because they were beating Cincinnati senseless. But, I mean, it was to the point of virtually standing there and handing the defensive back the ball. And we know that there was a critical interception on a deeper throw against BYU, so just stop that. And I think they can still be effective and win the games doing what they do, running the ball with him particularly. And now Parker has sort of come into his own now after a slower start, but he's fine and he's taken off. And then just do those short passes and just stick with that. If that's what's going to win you games, go ahead and win them. Because I think in large part, they got a nice ranking in the playoff committee because they've been beating the snot out of all these teams. Well, that's already on the books. So if you just go win these next 3 games fairly comfortably and not by 30 points, that's good enough to what you're trying to accomplish. So take that mindset, and I think they'll go 3-0.
If you can, I don't disagree with the deep ball. I think, Coach, it's like you. So you watch game film and you look at defensive weaknesses and you say, you know what? If we run this play, or if we tweak our play, if we run this play, this guy should be open. I mean, we should be able to throw the ball downfield, and so everything looks so good on film and the way you draw it up, and even maybe the way that you practice it, that you kind of like, well, we have to give it a shot. It should work, and then whatever happens, it doesn't work. But I think you're exactly right. The deep ball has been the issue, and getting late in a progression seems to be the issue. But getting rid of the ball quickly and moving around and throwing the ball on the move seems to be well within Dampier's capabilities. So let's just say Utah throws the ball and averages 5 or 6 yards per catch, but they're completing 70% of their passes. I mean, that sounds like, and still, getting a decent amount on the ground. That sounds like that could be a winning formula, and no turnovers. I mean, no turnovers is going to be the key. So I think I like that idea of just playing more into the strength of the quarterback. Get rid of the ball quickly, get it to the guys who can make a play downfield, average 5 or 6 yards per catch, high completion percentage. That seems like a winning formula. And you have an offensive line that I think is starting to perform like everybody said they should perform early in the season, which should be a great benefit to Dampier. So, offensive line, obviously, running game, those are the two most important things to a quarterback. And so the offensive line seems to be there. If Baylor tries to sell out and Utah can still complete 70% of their passes, I think that's a winning formula.
Any worries about the defense versus an offense? I mean, Baylor can score points. And they having a bunch of games this year, and they can score points in bunches. So is there any worry about that? Because if Baylor has a path to winning this, I mean, they lost to TCU 42-36. They beat K-State 35-34. You see the kind of games. SMU was a 48-45 game. If Baylor's going to get you, it seems like that's the kind of game where, you run for 1,000,000 yards, and you get your 35-42 points, but we have the ball last and we outscore you. But Utah's defense hasn't really found themselves in that situation. Could this be different?
It could be. I mean, I don't think you want to necessarily get into a track meet with Baylor, and there have been times when there's times when the defense looks really good, like attack. In fact, I think they're in the Big 12, like their percentage-wise of bringing extra pressure is the highest in the Big 12. I may be off on that by a team, but I think that's true. It's a very attacking style defense, and when they get into that mode, it just creates problems for offenses. We saw that happen against Cincinnati, and the frustrations in the quarterback and all of those things. So I think that Utah has given up some pretty interesting chunk plays in the run. I think that's a little bit of a concern. And so being really solid against the run. I mean, the worst thing that could happen to Utah is giving up long, sustained scoring drives to Baylor and finding yourselves in a back and forth type of affair. I mean, if Utah gives up a longer drive but then limits to a field goal or no points, that's okay. But long, sustained touchdown scoring drives, I think that could be really, really impactful this week. So, but I think this defense has the capability, the talent capability to slow down that offense. And then if Utah can create a turnover or two, that would be significant. So it's a dangerous offense. And I think Utah's shown some signs of being a little soft at times in areas, but generally I think it's a really good matchup for Utah defensively.
All right, yeah, I like that. That's reasonable, Frank. You're a reasonable man this morning.
Wait, when am I not? I mean, I've heard that. You're not the first person who said that to me. But I still, scratch my head. I always feel like I'm pretty reasonable.
Well, that's a compliment. Why'd you take that as a negative? Is it because I said it?
It's because so many people say it that I'm starting to question.
I don't follow that logic. You're being unreasonable.
Now he feels better.
Yeah, thank you. Wow. Everything's back in order.
Yeah.
Well, there's a sense of semblance with the Utah football program that this is where, for so many years, it has been as we get into November, and we see the reasoning as to why they are where they are, and we know the reasons why they're here, and we're back at the same spot where it seems like outside of last year we've been for the last 10 years.
Yeah. There's as much as everything changes, it doesn't really, everything stays the same. and I like this. I like this football team. I like the style. I mean, I've kind of come around. I used to say, kind of poking fun at Coach Whittingham, like he would, if he could win every game 9-7, then he would do that. Like that's
his comfort zone.
Stifling defense and just get a safety and just enough to get across the finish line on the offensive side and control the ball, control the time of possession, which time of possession is only meaningful to me with a Coach Whittingham offense. Like that's just the way he plays. It's such old school that's still a meaningful statistic for him. So I've come around on that. Like I've become a guy that's like, yeah, I want to see a stifling defense. I want to see an offensive football team. I mean, I'd like to score more than 9 points, but I'd like to see an offensive football team that is long, methodical, beat up a defense kind of drives. And then find yourself in the fourth quarter where an opponent is just like, man, I've had enough of this. It's I've had enough of this kind of angst at the line of scrimmage all day long. So I like that style of play, and I think this is a team that is aligning with that style of play as we go through the season. I make it sound like they're trudging on 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but what are they averaging? I mean, like it's also interesting that they're averaging so many points per game. Like I can't remember off the top of my head what the points per game average, but it's like tops in the Big 12. Like that's pretty significant.
They lead the country in margin of victory, I think, and Texas Tech is second. I think it's like 36 or something. The conference puts it out every week, and Texas Tech is right there too.
So as much as we want to say like, oh, this is a grind you at the line of scrimmage football team, you got to establish the run. We're gonna, it's gonna be a low scoring. Well, it feels like that in ways, but then the productivity, statistically, the productivity looks much different than that.
I think the thing is that they seem to average 6 or 7 yards of play depending on the game.
Yeah.
But they seem to average 6 or 7 yards of play whether they're running or throwing the ball. The short passing game has been really effective, and Dampier's kept his completion percentage above 65% and bounces around 66, 67, whatever. He's kept it up there. And it seems like I don't know realistically that you can say never throw the ball deep. Although I've been tempted to say that. But if he does, I think your situation where Baylor, where they're putting 10 guys in the box, it's like and your whole thing about the longer progression, well, now the receiver's further downfield, and he just can't throw it that far. Like physically, he can't. So why get mad at him? He can't do it. You're just wasting your time getting mad at him for that. But if there's only one safety, a quick look with your eyes to move him one way and then throw it deep the other. The pigs don't usually come in one-on-one coverage. They tend to come where there's more zone, or there's two safeties and they're staring at the QB and they see the ball the whole way. That's what happened to the one at the goal line. PK and I were sitting next to each other, and from the second he wound up to throw it, and we were both like, nope, that's going to be a bad idea.
Don't do that.
But there's too many guys standing at the goal line looking at him that are going to react to the ball the second he throws it. So, of course, it got picked off.
I had a guy at El Camino Junior College, PK, Coach Pete, and I threw a bad interception in a game, and Coach Pete was our quarterback coach. I walked off to the sideline, and he looked at me and it was the simplest thing in the world, and all he said was, "Don't throw into coverage."
So there's a lot of guys wearing the other color shirt. Don't throw it there.
That was it, and it was like such an aha thing, because you have this sense like, oh, I can make it play. I can throw it in. I can sneak it in there. But when you take it, when you have that perspective, like, wait, don't throw into coverage. And then, I mean, circumstantially, if you're down late in the game, you have to, maybe you take a shot, something like that. But generally, that's a pretty good rule. I think that's that's a pretty good life rule. Maybe we should make some T-shirts. Like that's a life
Don't throw into coverage.
Don't throw into coverage. Like, it's so simple. And it's a hard with the confidence in these guys and the belief in the ability to make any play, sometimes that can be challenging to overcome. But I think that's it. It's as simple as that. Even if it gets late in the progression, even if you're under pressure, even if, just don't throw into coverage.
Got it. I don't know if it was a quarterback who'd been in the room with Joe Flacco or if it was a receiver, but it was one or the other. It was an ex-player. And he got asked, how come Joe Flacco is not only in the league at this age, but he's playing, and he's occasionally winning big games against good teams? And the guy cracked up, like you're laughing right now, and he said Joe Flacco can adapt to any offense because it's not that he doesn't care about the offense, but his rule is simple. Where's the one-on-one coverage? Who's one-on-one?
Yeah.
Defenses have either one or two extra players, right? If they're rushing four and there's five guys blocking them, they've got an extra guy they can put out there. And they don't have to defend the quarterback because you don't need to spy on Joe Flacco. He's not running anywhere. So there's one or two extra guys. He just figures out where they are, and then he throws it to somebody else. He's like, you can give him all the language and and he just cuts through it when he drops back who's one-on-one. Because NFL receivers one-on-one, they're probably going to win. So he just finds the one-on-one. He doesn't throw into coverage. He goes with the positive that you needed the negative. Don't throw into coverage. And Joe's thinking, where's one-on-one? Boom.
Where's one-on-one? Yeah, I mean, I think that is going to be important this week as well, especially if Baylor starts walking up. Like, if they start sneaking toward the line of scrimmage, that's kind of a quarterback's dream, to be honest, to see – like, this safety is never – I mean, he's playing center field, but he's never going to be able to get back in coverage.
Right.
Like there's just no help. And so you may have one or two guys, depending on the route, that will find themselves in that situation. And then you can take a chance throwing the ball downfield. Yeah. And so maybe that is, that if that unfolds – that would be a situation where I'd say, yeah, let's, take a shot. Let's throw it downfield. Even though, I think we all agree, throwing downfield late in the progression
bad idea.
With a few people around in the wrong color jersey has not been meaningful for Utah this year.
Well, Frank, see, when you say it like that, I think you're a reasonable guy.
Well, listen, this has been a very reasonable conversation.
There you go. Thanks, Frank. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, you guys are the best. Talk to you soon.
Frank Dolce, former Ute quarterback, joining us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up at the top of the 9 o'clock hour, we look forward to BYU and TCU. The Frogs are coming in. It's the late-night game. Stephen Johnson, TCU beat writer for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, joins us at 9 o'clock. It's a Jazz Ticket Tuesday. Are we doing that next, Jock? All right, right after the break, we'll give away tickets to see the Jazz and the Hawks Thursday at the Delta Center. Stay with us.
It's game week for the Utes, and the KSL Sports Zone is getting you ready for kickoff. After a much-needed week off, Kyle Whittingham and the Utes get set for the final 3 games of the season, starting with a trip to Waco for a battle against Baylor. Listen all week long for the best coverage of Utah football. Then catch college football Saturday game day at 10 a.m. with the postgame show immediately following the game on KSLSports.com.
Let's go then. Let's go, baby.
Your home for the best coverage of Utah football is live on air, online, and on the KSL Sports app. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Get the question up, and we talked about this a little bit in the 7 o'clock hour. The SEC commissioner thinks his conference deserves 8 teams in the playoff. Really? And some of the responses, Hector, I bet he does. He can have his own playoff system then. And Alex, it's already the Big Ten SEC tournament. And Don goes old school kids movies. You lose, you get nothing. Good day, sir. No, Willy Wonka right there. Don't you think that he knows, PK, in a 12-team tournament, he's not getting 8 teams in? I mean, there's automatic bids. There's 2 unbeaten teams in the Big Ten. He's probably, I think, doing 3 or 4 things here at the same time. One, he's trying to argue for the 5th team, which is probably the most he's going to get in, and he probably already knows that. Maybe things could break and they could argue for 6 and it won't happen. But he's trying to get 5 instead of 4. or trying to protect the fourth team if there's upsets by saying the SEC's awesome. They're also negotiating, and they've got just a few weeks here to do it, apparently. They've got to get a plan in place for next year's playoff. And if he wants 16 teams, he's pushing 8 now, like, hey, there's quality teams, there'll be quality games, people will watch them, look how good we are. Let's have a bigger tournament. Now, I don't think there's any danger that in a bigger tournament, Missouri or Tennessee, who we identified as the 8th and 9th best ranked SEC teams here, are going to win that tournament. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. Maybe one day some Cinderella will pull it off. But they could play entertaining games. I think they'll play watchable games, and everybody will make money off it. So I wonder if the SEC commissioner is, A, reinforcing how awesome his league is, B, really arguing for a 5th bid this year, and C, setting the table for what he thinks the playoff ought to look like next year. Because I don't seriously think that he considers for a moment he's going to get 8 teams in. So what else is he doing when he says this?
Try and get as many teams as possible, whatever that might be, and make sure you have more than the Big Ten. That whatever 100% of the money is, you get the majority of that share.
Yeah. And that's what he'll accomplish, getting that 5th or 6th team in.
So I think he has to appease his bosses, and 2 of his bosses are employed at Missouri and Tennessee.
Yes, that's another thing he's accomplishing. You're right. Put that on the list, and maybe move it up in front of some of the ones I brought up.
Hey, you always look at where your money's coming from,
right.
And you protect that at virtually all costs.
It's a vote of 16 people.
Right. So he needs to protect those 2 bosses.
So he's protecting
and
7.
If they don't get in, well, I did what I was supposed to do. And I can't vote here.
Yeah, but whoever teams 7, 8, 9, 10 are, they're looking at him going, he's got our back.
Right.
You know, Team 10 is thinking, well, we got to win 2 more games and make ourselves 7th or 8th.
Yeah. So he's protecting his own. That's why we'll never have the uniformity that Cody Campbell was talking about last week. Because these commissioners, they're not going to give up power and give up their jobs.
Once upon a time, this will sound quaint, there was a president of the American League and a president of the National League. And then there was the commissioner of baseball. And they all each had duties. And over time, I think the owners looked around like, what are we paying AL and NL presidents for?
Right.
What are we doing here? So those 2 went away, and now there's a commissioner. And, they went away, I don't even know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Yeah.
And there'd be dozens of jobs lost because it just wouldn't be them.
Oh, no.
Because each conference is fully staffed.
Yep.
Or however many people they have.
And you assume that more of those duties would go to whatever this national governing body is.
Right.
And,
Yeah, the commissioner's staff. And so jobs would be lost, and nobody wants that. So people who aren't involved in it want it because you're not losing anything.
Yeah.
You're not losing your money.
It's not my paycheck, not my job, not my career.
It's like I've said, I'm all for diversity as long as I got my job. And I'm the only one who says that, but everybody thinks that. You think that? Everybody thinks that.
Diversify myself out of a job? I'd rather not,
Adam
says
Silver
everybody.
Said, I want to see more women referees. Fine, I want to see a woman commissioner. Hey, wait a second.
Slow your roll over there, cowboy.
So you're always going to look out for your paycheck. There's no doubt about it. So anytime a conference commissioner speaks, he or she is looking out for his or her paycheck, and they're also pumping their league. That's what they're paid to do. So this seems outrageous that you would get 8 of the 12. It sort of seems outrageous you'd get 8 of the 16, but I want to reserve judgment on that. Off the top of my head, it seems like it, but when we get there, and it'll be when, not if, that very well could be logical.
I've read more and more about 24 with 8 first-round buys, and we got all these ranked teams. Would people watch that?
Yeah, them are really, really watering down the regular season.
We are, but, the NCAA basketball.
By that time, I'll be dribbling stuff out of my mouth, so I won't care as much.
We'll sit at 16 for a while, like we sat at 4 and 2 for a while. Remember when none of this was possible? This is just impossible.
Oh, yeah. It's too much on the kids. You can't go into the second semester.
You can't play.
Blah.
You can't play 14 games.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I bet you can.
Let's just have overtime will be 1 play each. You start it, put it wherever, and whoever gains more yards in that 1 play wins the game.
You can't pay players. Players can't be employees. Players can't collectively bargain. We keep knocking these down. We're going to knock down a few more here.
Yeah, and college basketball has 32 assistants.
There can only be 2.5. We have to have a limited earnings coach.
Yeah.
You can have a third coach. We have to limit their earnings.
Right.
Then they get sued all the way to the Supreme Court. They all those people back pay.
Yeah. So it's been dramatic, which it always was a pro sport. It was just camouflaged as the first and foremost an academic endeavor. And we know that is bullcrap. It has always been bullcrap.
And these players on three teams, how are they possibly graduating?
Yeah, and if Joey or Josephine wants to have an opportunity to get a degree, he or she can, but it's up to the individual. If they want it to be about academics, it can be. I'm not discounting that. I think it should be in a Pollyanna world, but that's not the world in which we live. And for so many of these kids, who was it? It was just somebody was talking about, I just heard it yesterday, about these kids having an opportunity to get this potentially life-changing money, and they're coming from backgrounds in which it matters a whole lot for them, and so good on them for being able to get it, and hopefully they use that money wisely for themselves and their family. All these things are there, and now we look at the expansion of it, and I get commissioners. Yormark needs to put out a statement. He needs to get on a tour and start saying...
Yock tries, but he won't come on. Well, we could start the tour right here.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Do a video yourself of sitting in your office. I don't care.
Yeah. Put it on YouTube.
To where he needs to start pumping. Hey, we've got at least 3. I think Tech is in, and the other 2, maybe Cincinnati rallies and pulverizes BYU. Who knows? And maybe the Utes go down to Baylor and Sawyer Robertson throws for 5 touchdown passes and they win. It's not shocking. And so it would be Cincinnati, BYU, and Tech. Or hopefully BYU, Utah, and Tech. Or, any version of those teams. I think Tech is in. But he needs to politic for it. That's part of the deal. Whether it is stupid or not, it doesn't matter. It's part of the deal where you have to start campaigning. And Sankey went out and said that. He got a jump on everybody, I think, by putting out 8 teams. Wow, 8? Half? Is this the NCAA basketball tournament? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I know exactly
but
what you mean.
But when you're subject to a vote, it becomes a political campaign.
Thing, yeah.
I get it. That's what he should be doing. And
the Big Ten could be out.
Needs to do it too.
The Big Ten could be out lobbying for a 4th team. It seems like a long shot, but I think USC or Michigan winning out. They're way down the list right now, but they got the brand names to get vaulted up, and they got opponents at the end of the schedule.
Iowa at home this week and Oregon next week.
So that's between a decent record. They're 6-2.
They're 8-2. They should be considered serious.
The quality opposition they got coming up, and if they, and I don't think they will, but if they pound Iowa and go to Oregon and pound Oregon, and actually I could see Iowa. Iowa's got to go to L.A., right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
and they're undefeated at home.
They are unbeaten at home. The only 2 times they've lost, they've had to travel. Mm-hmm. And if they go up to Oregon, okay, now you have to travel, but you're not changing the time zones thing. And if they go up there off a good win over Iowa and get a really impressive win over Oregon,
they should be considered.
They could skyrocket right up this thing. And obviously, Michigan, if they went out, they'd have to beat Ohio State, and there's no way they're getting out if they're 10-2 and they just beat Ohio State. They're not getting left out. I don't know who'll get bumped, but somebody will, and Michigan will get in.
Maybe a second Big 12 team.
Easily. That could easily be it. Yeah. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Whirls around and down. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone is your exclusive home of the Utah Jazz. And we want to send you to the Delta Center to see the Jazz in action. Listen every Tuesday for the Jazz Ticket Tuesday Sounder at 30 past the hour, every hour, all day long. And if you're caller number 12, you'll be on your way to an upcoming game.
Buy one, you'll get one free.
It's Jazz Ticket Tuesday, every Tuesday throughout the NBA season on your radio home for the Utah Jazz. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. College football playoff rankings come out tonight. The question on everyone's mind, how far will BYU fall? I think the most likely answer is number 12. Texas Tech will clearly pass them. Oregon will clearly pass them. I expect they will drop behind Notre Dame, Texas, and Oklahoma. I also don't really think it matters because I think Notre Dame, Texas, Oklahoma, even if they don't drop past them, they'll vault over them if they win their road games this week. Those three all have big games. And if they lose them, they'll drop below them. So I guess this is the TV show at its finest, PK. Whatever they say tonight, we know it's bound to change in a week based on the schedule. Will they drop further than 12? I expect they'll be at 12, and Utah will hold at 13. Virginia and Louisville, who are 14 and 15, both lost. So no danger of them moving up and passing the Utes. So I expect the Utes stay parked right at 13 off the bye week. But that might just be entirely too logical. Frank Dolce is reasonable. I am logical. You go with your gut instinct. And you believe that this committee is a little unpredictable. So as soon as you logic it out, then look for a wrinkle or two to throw in. Because there usually is a wrinkle somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Utah got enormous respect. And they clearly believe in Utah. And that's fine. Good for us. I'd rather they believe in Utah than somebody else.
Yeah, right.
Not associated with us. And, they didn't rank BYU higher when they could have. So, I mean, it's not that they don't believe in BYU, but I don't believe they believed in BYU to the level that could be argued, if that makes sense.
That does. It makes excellent sense. BYU clearly at 8-0 before the Texas Tech loss. You could argue they're better than all the one-loss teams.
Right.
They did not believe that. I think they didn't believe that partly because they saw BYU coming from behind to squeak past what is clearly not a good Colorado team, obviously. And they saw a couple other rallies, and I just think they're predisposed to think if you're in the Big 12, you're not as good as these SEC teams. And so I think the Cougars had that working against them. Now, subsequently, BYU gets dominated by Texas Tech, so that not only justifies 7, that's going to justify something down in the double digits. Somewhere in that 10 to 15 realm. I mean, I got to believe they're going to be 10. There's no way they're better than 10. I think it'll be 12 if I had to pick a number.
12 is an easy way to go.
I think there's an argument to be made for 11 that Texas has got a little better resume than Oklahoma. And so if you want to – where is Oklahoma's big win? Michigan back in September. I guess if you consider Tennessee a big win, I don't know. Tennessee's got 3 losses now. It's a good win. I don't know if it's a big win.
Where was the game played? It was in Tennessee because Trammell drove there.
It was. You're right. Exactly. It was at Tennessee. And like all of this hemming and hawing about whether they're ahead or behind Oklahoma, well, if BYU beats TCU and Oklahoma loses at Alabama, then BYU is probably going to end up in front of Oklahoma anyway. So whatever. Rank them wherever you want tonight. You're just going to change it next week anyway. As well you should, given the games that are coming up.
Well, yeah, what's really cool is that they've made this poll such a big, big deal.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll watch. Is it 6 o'clock tonight again?
It's actually at 5 tonight.
5? Oh, I'm all over it.
I'm sure you are.
Where else am I going to be? You know what I mean? I am. I'm all over it.
It's a TV show. Blow it off, PK.
I'm not. I won't.
Okay.
Unless the old lady's got something that I don't know about and we need to be somewhere.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, I don't think so. So, yeah, I'll watch it. And it's not just the poll. It's when they bring on the chairperson.
And you get the explanation.
Yeah. Right. And then they could possibly give me ideas that'll prompt me to think of something to talk about. So I view it as work.
It is a beginning point. I don't know if it's a beginning point. We're 9 weeks deep, 10 weeks deep in the season. But it's it's another launching pad
for
another
topic. They may say something that I think is outrageous or I agree with or makes me think of something else.
Yeah.
And then we come in here. My job is to come in here every day and provide as much interesting radio and compelling radio as I possibly can.
And they may say something that sets the table for the games the week after.
Right. So for me, I'm surprised you scoffed at it when I said I'm there.
It's a TV show.
I know, but this is our job. Our job is essentially a TV show.
It's Wave at the cameras. We have cameras in here now. If you didn't know, we're not just a radio show. Podcast, TV, YouTube, whatever.
Yeah. So
I think that
that's just another source,
well,
another
I think
avenue for me to get content.
It's different this year because in this 12-team format, and these two teams are so relevant in this format.
That adds to it.
Right. Whereas in past years, you could look at it and go, it's a TV show, it's going to change. But maybe that's in a year where our teams aren't in the mix. I mean, we've been doing this show enough years, and I've heard you say that. But then I think about it, I'm like, well, yeah, if Utah and BYU are 7-5, then I mean, we're probably not going to come in and argue about I don't even know, Ole Miss and Oklahoma. Not for very long.
No.
Doesn't resonate.
And our teams being in the mix adds to it, yes.
Yep. All right, DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Coming up next, Steven Johnson, TCU beat writer for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, joins us right after the break. We have more Jazz tickets to give away at 9:30. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.